All right, welcome back. We are going to continue our open session with the item that we left off with, which is 7.3, consideration of First Amendment to the at-cost project reimbursement and indemnity agreement between the County of Lake and Lotus Land Investment Holdings Incorporated for county permit processing of the Maha-Guanac Valley Mixed-Use Development Project. Director Turner.
Thank you. Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. For those of you who may have forgotten or might not have been paying attention a few years ago, the Maha-Guanac Valley is a 16,000-acre multi-use resort residential development project. It has many moving parts. It was approved by the board in 2020 and then appealed to the Superior Court. Since the judge made a decision finding one area of the environmental impact report was insufficient, and since that time, after the board rescinded all of the actions it had taken, the developer has been working on addressing the concerns that came out of that judgment. And now it's back. For those who haven't read the project description yet, it includes, 400 hotel units. And I just want to give you a brief overview just to bring you up to speed. Because aside from that, this amendment agreement really isn't all that interesting. So I'll save that for a second. So 450 residential units, 1,400 residential estate villas. It also includes 5 subdivisions, one of which is just for workforce housing, which is off-site but still in Middletown. General plan amendments, rezones, modification to the Middletown area plan, general plan of development, a specific plan of development, and an environmental impact report. And I might have missed a thing or two. So in 2020, because of the complexity of this project, intaking the fees were handled slightly different than our normal way. Typically,
Time out.
pause.
I'm out calling the back.
It appears that we are not well connected to either Facebook or Zoom. Something is wrong. I apologize
I
for
can
the
start all
interruption,
over in just a
but
second.
we are going to take a 10-minute break to try and figure it out.
Try that again, just like that.
I will be just as enthusiastic. I know, that was like a good one. That was a good moment. What a bummer. Right, yeah. I bought a weed whacker. And weed whacked just my teeny tiny little front yard, and I couldn't close my hand for like 3 hours. Yeah. You're a somebody. You are important. Mine's electric, so I don't see a lock. I have to hold both, and so then I had to tell myself, don't clutch it, because I think that adds to the fatigue. I'll get the hang of it. I just feel like a stud.
Yeah, because I don't know what my name is. Will you promote me to panelist?
Yeah.
Do you see something that says Johanna? It says Johanna. probably that.
Already? Wow. A lot of pre-fishing. Cool. There's a coffee one?
Okay, can you make that AD system, give it bandwidth connection code?
Who? Oh, Emily?
AD laptop?
What? Oh.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. We're just checking to make sure that we can be heard in Zoom.
We can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, so give it, can you give it host now?
Who? Which one?
AD laptop?
You want host or co-host?
Host.
says sign in up there. I don't know if that's pertinent. Oh. Hmm. Oh, yeah.
In case you can hear us, we're still trying to work out the technical difficulties.
So today's high is 73 and tomorrow's is 59.
Dropping.
Isn't that interesting? And snow on Thursday, or no, rain on Thursday.
Snow on Thursday.
Sorry. I gotta go to the eye doctor. Right. Oh, yeah. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. Yeah. Wow, 70s next week. Yeah, that's chilly. I like cold better too. Yeah, you can always put more on. Yeah.
Be inside in the window.
Good, thank you. That'd be great. I don't sit there all day. Yeah. Thank you. I got nervous for a second. I thought my eval had been moved to July, and I was like, oh, why am I on the agenda?
Mine might, but yours won't. So now we're gonna, next week, social sciences, you wanna,
Oh, yeah.
and then the following day is public works.
Oh, dear.
Thursday,
Okay.
two more.
Right. Yes.
Our Zoom is not letting me do anything, so we're gonna have to redo it. It's just freezing.
This is where I start bothering.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
In a meeting, not anymore. What did you say, Sam?
Wendy is now the host.
Oh.
What's happening in Zoom is not letting me do anything. It's just, I log in and it's just freezing.
Oh.
Everything else is working fine.
I did. I said, we are having difficulty. Zoom is freezing. I don't know. Don't let me bother you. Daniel says out in the field.
Shane. Shane. Rachel, didn't I work with your sister? Katie? Katie, yes, that's what it was. Thank you. I couldn't remember her name. She was down here at Board of Supervisors when I started. How's she doing?
She's down in San Diego. She has two little kids.
Oh.
And they're actually all living in Italy.
Oh, wow.
Her husband's in the military, and so she has a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Good for her.
And I was upstairs at Public Works at that time.
Okay. Yeah. It's gone fast. Would you tell her that I said hello? Mireya Turner.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Cool. She was funny. I enjoyed working with her. Yeah. I was gonna start with, and that concludes my presentation.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I talk to them daily. Lee's responding though, so if it still doesn't work, maybe he can come down.
Good.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're just having a little technical difficulty with Zoom. I want to make sure that we can be heard now.
Yes.
We can be heard in the chambers. Can we be heard in Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Okay, then it looks like, let me make sure. One thing on participants. Allow panelists to start video. Okay, we've got it. Okay, my apologies. I'm not sure what happened to Zoom, but we are back.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. Let's wait for the video to come on. Perfect. So we are going to attempt to summarize, but not necessarily have to start all over from scratch. What had already been said for item 7.3. Again, let me just read it out since we seem to be starting all over here. Consideration of First Amendment to the at-cost project reimbursement and indemnity agreement between the County of Lake and Lotus Land Investment Holdings, Inc. for county permit processing of the Maha-Gwinnett Valley Mixed Use Development Project.
Thank you, Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. Anyone who missed the previous project description is more than welcome to reach out to our department, and we'd be happy to email it to them. But moving forward, the permit fees in the Planning Division, with very few exceptions, are dealt with on a cost recovery basis. So that means the permit fee is actually a deposit, and the time spent and expenses of that project are then are carried against that balance. Because of the multiple moving parts with the Maha-Gwinnett Valley development, we handled it a little differently. And with the original project in 2020, the board approved an agreement that established a fund balance from which not just planning, but all of the stakeholder agencies would draw their staff time and expense from that overall balance. That balance stayed, or that agreement stayed in effect while the developer was working on their next submission. And so it has dwindled down to just about nothing. This amendment will replenish that balance, keep it going through this next round of permit processes. And also, I updated a little bit of the wording so that it more accurately reflected what could be different staff fees depending on different departments. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much for your patience and your presentation of the item. Any questions or comments regarding this item? Supervisor
Just
Simon?
glad to see it coming back. That's it.
I have a brief question. I believe, based on the information provided, that this project description is the same and that the only difference is the difference from what came down from the courts?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, since this was an amendment rather than a new agreement, but just wanted to at least ask the question. So I appreciate that, and that's all I have. And if there's nothing further, let's open it up for public comment. If you're in Zoom, please use the raise hand function. If you're in the chamber, come on up to the mic. Seeing nothing in either one, bringing it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the First Amendment to the at-cost project reimbursement and indemnity agreement between the County of Lake and Lotus Land Investment Holdings, Inc. for the county permit processing of the Maha-Gwinnett Valley Mixed-Use Development Project, and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are going to skip, since we have Director Turner here, to item 7.6, consideration of proposed formation of 8 local area plan advisory committees to support the Lake County 2050 update process. Director Turner.
Thank you. Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. Historically, Lake County has updated their local area plans one at a time because they're time intensive and demanding on staff resources. This time, Lake County 2050 is a more ambitious project. It includes an update of the general plan and all 8 local area plans at the same time. In December, the board established the General Plan Advisory Committee, which is a group of 15 from all over the county to oversee and make recommendations to the general plan draft, the draft local area plans, and the draft EIR. There are a number of issues that require robust discussion at a community planning area level. Because of that, the request before you today is to consider establishing one local area plan advisory committee per planning area. That would be the creation of 8 new committees that would review, discuss, consider the planning area specific items that could include modification of the planning area boundaries, modification of the community growth boundaries, and different land use issues that could come up. Those the advisory committee recommendations would then be brought to the General Plan Advisory Committee for their consideration. Staff recommends that these individual bodies be no larger than 9. And also in the staff report, there was a recommendation for specialties in each of these. Across all 8 would be a tribal representative and an environmental representative. And then it starts to sort of fine tune or customize per area plan based on if there's a municipal advisory council or 2 or none. Like the Rivieras has 4 HOAs but no advisory council. So that's where they start to shift a little bit. Kelseyville area plan has a membership specific to the ag industry. and then filled in with between 3 and 5 public members at large that would live within that, that planning area. Staff does recognize that this would create an additional burden, sorry, Johanna, in admin, as well as logistical management of the different meetings. So our goal is to synchronize these local area plan advisory council meetings as much into the existing timeline as possible. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Supervisor Pyska?
What do you think about the frequency of these meetings? And I'm guessing it's the duration of the 3-year project?
Correct. It would be less than that. We would need to, it's more like a 2-year term because it's specifically focused during the draft periods of the local area plan. So probably the next 2 years.
And frequency?
It's kind of going to depend on each individual planning area. Some may not have any recommendations of changes. Others might have a need for ongoing meetings. So we're going to have to feel that out without killing off staff.
Okay, well, I'm just looking at trying to recruit volunteers as we've got our advisory councils. Today, we're seating an advisory council, but we have a lot of people that are interested in, and so I'm just hoping that we can kind of capture some of that
Let's start with 3
enthusiasm.
meetings and more if needed.
Okay, okay.
The timeline for this, if the board does create them today, is I'd like to extend the period for collecting the applications until after that first kickoff meeting of the planning areas all through the middle of April. So bring it back to the board for appointments hopefully in May, because I think that the interest generated of those community meetings at first will also generate interest in participating in these advisory committees.
Yeah. I think if people are signing up, though, they'll probably want to understand this is going to be, it sounds like 3 meetings, but if it's potentially more, it'd be good information for them to have.
Indeed.
Supervisor Green?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing this forward. It's a lot of committees and a lot of people on these committees. So to the proposed structure, if I were to parse the Lakeport area plan, have an agricultural seat, I think designated would be appropriate. I guess I want to think outside the box a little bit because this is a lot of cat herding in a lot of different areas, some of which have good infrastructure to hold meetings and gather input, some that don't have quite as good. And in the Lakeport area plan example, for example, I have a definite city mouse, country mouse kind of dynamic going on, so you're going to have to get feedback from different groups within that area. And just like with the General Plan Advisory Committee as a whole that we talked about, and then our regional advisory councils, there's some overhead, organizational with organizing these committees, then holding the meetings, noticing them if these are going to be Brown Act bodies, and I assume they are.
They are not. They are advisory committees gathered for a certain period of time for a specific purpose, and then they will be disbanded. They're not ongoing, and nor are they areas of specialization.
Okay, so
Similar to GPAC.
so these are proposed as time-limited ad hoc committees.
Exactly.
Okay, it's still a heavy lift. Compare and contrast with, say, a larger number of scoping meetings in various places within the area plans. You don't have a formal committee input process or people taking votes on recommendations. And maybe that's just my own naivete or unfamiliarity with what deliverables you want out of this process. But we end up having trouble recruiting, we have trouble getting people in the proper seats. There's another item on today's agenda where we're going to recategorize another person on a different committee. And but the end goal of this is just to solicit public input from as wide a swath as you can. So can you just explain to me why we have a General Plan Advisory Committee, we have a bunch of municipal advisory councils already set up to provide some regional input. Is there something in the general plan update process specific to the area plan updates that requires or rewards the formation of area plan-specific advisory committees?
Yes, thank you for asking. So the General Plan Advisory Committee is overseeing quite a broad update. The concern that grew in me as I've been working on planning this project and overseeing its progress is that I don't want our Lake County 2050 to get to the final draft and not have the community buy-in because people don't feel that they've had enough time to really hash out the community vision for the next 20 years. We have 3 workshops per planning area, and the input is meant to be broader than the municipal area councils. They were a great place for our kickoff meetings to start, but we've always had the goal of going wider and getting greater participation, in which case that's why there's a position for the municipal area council within each, I call them LAPACs, but it's broader than that as well. And so this is an attempt to really get into the nuts and bolts of that community vision for that specific planning area for the next 20 years and not have it just be limited to what the town council thinks. Without that community buy-in, I would hate to think that Lake County 2050 would not have the synchronization and the granular detail and visioning that's required for it to be a valuable deliverable for the next 20 years.
Thank you for that. And I guess my immediate follow-up to that is if we're going to lock and load and follow this, I don't see a budget request with this. So is it your intention that you're going to absorb? Do you have bandwidth within your existing department or the existing funding for the general plan update to pull this off? Because again, this is a lot of cat herding, and if we need to support you or support these councils, help you obtain meeting space, help you advertise these meetings, or just to kind of track staff time in supporting this function. Because I think the General Plan Advisory Committee itself is a big lift, and you have a consultant helping with that. Is this included in the current contract with the consultant, or are you going to be shouldering this on yourself?
We will be shouldering this within our department. It is not part of the scope of work, and we're so early in the 3-year process that I'm trying to reserve any wiggle room in our budget for later when it becomes crucial.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Pyska?
I think this is a good move because in the past, if you've read the area plans, there was 12 people appointed that met monthly for sometimes years, and a heavy lift by volunteers. And so this is a modification of that. But I think we're still going to achieve that community visioning, but without putting that workload on the volunteers. So I think it's a worthwhile investment, and I have 3 that I got to deal with, work through. So I think it's going to be a busy time for all of us, but this is how we have to do it. I think this is going to be the better way to get that community-led engagement that you might not receive at the municipal advisory councils.
Any further comments or questions regarding this item? Supervisor Green?
Just when we get closer to a motion, I am going to seek an agricultural seat.
Okay.
And just for clarity, would you then be removing one at-large position? Okay.
Seems to be the impact of the others of making those different choices. Did I hear please, CAO?
Yes,
Parker.
Chair. Thank you. Director Turner, given the timeline that you just proposed with turnaround on the applications, we may need some assistance in the redaction efforts, given the number of applications, and continuing to do our day-to-day.
We have already been in conversation with admin staff to support that effort.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Be nice if we can automate that automatically.
Can't we just use a Sharpie? I mean, is that the old way of doing it? Maybe I'm showing my age.
Can be a request we ask for Adobe. Quick question. I know it says on there the folks that reside in the area, but the area plan doesn't always match the municipal advisory map. And would it be only people that live within the area? And I don't know if there's the possibility of some of the advisories not having people that live specifically in that area. I doubt that would be the case, but just wanted to check in for business owners and for those that are representative of the municipal advisory. They would all have to meet the requirement of residing in the area of the area plan.
If that be the will of the board, that is how I drafted it.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay, and then last question is for the Lakeport one and for the Shoreline one, it includes at this moment in time the cities. Will those be carved out, or will residents of those two cities be eligible to put in an application?
There are a number of points during this overall Lake County 2050 process that the cities are included. This would not be one of them. They are not meant to be included in the planning area because the cities have their own community visioning process.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I figured that was the case. I know it's been discussed in the past, but currently the maps definitely overlap to show that it does offer all those areas. So that's perfect. Just wanted to be clear on that for when we get applications. There's nothing further. I'm going to open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Please come up to the microphone or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, let's bring it back. And I think direction's been given. There's a change to the Lakeport one. Anything else, Supervisor Green?
No, just your last point. That's a good point. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, cities have their own general plans and their own update process. But in our county process, as we look at the area plans and the general plan as a whole for the county, do we not even examine anything within the city footprint? Because there's definitely some intersection of interest there affecting development, if nothing else. So are we drawing hard lines in the sand? Because if I do have a Lakeport City business owner with interest also in the county, yeah, where do we draw those lines? So I guess first question first, is this general plan update process exclusive to the unincorporated county territories?
It is.
All right, thank you.
And just
However, the line is the board's, to draw. So if you wanted to not exclude someone who had business interests in the unincorporated but lived in the city, this is fully up to the will of the board. This was just my first draft, my best suggestions. Typically, though, we are working closely with the cities on the countywide evacuation plan and the climate of vulnerability analysis. Those we are doing as regional. However, we have not spoken to the cities regarding any sort of overlap within the community visioning process.
And please correct me if I'm wrong, but the cities will have the ability to provide input on the EIR as it gets all processed, just like they do currently if there is a project that is adjacent to their city limits.
They are welcome to provide any input they feel is appropriate.
Yeah, so I feel that as an agency of that type, that they already have the ability to provide input. They shouldn't be in the steering seat because it is not their area to control, but providing input will be available to them at one point or another. And so I think that to me is the right place for them to be.
So I guess my suggestion or clarification for a business owner is that when we're parsing those on the applications, if they do reside outside the area plan area, but they can identify on that application a business that is located within the area. I don't know how to indicate that especially, but I just want to make sure, this is in our Scotts Valley Advisory Council bylaws, so if somebody has a business interest in Scotts Valley and they want to serve on the council, they're eligible to do so. So I don't know if you need specific direction from us, but I think that clarification may be helpful. If any business owner within any of these area plans wants to apply, they can, but we're going to need some information about which business they're establishing eligibility with to make sure that that business interest lies within the area plan.
I can add those instructions in our press release that business owner membership, please indicate address of your business.
if there's consensus.
And I think that we should and would probably know the applicants and should be able to explain on our own when introducing who we would want to see on each one of those area plans. To describe, yes, they don't reside there, but they own a business. I think that's something that we can handle on our own and helping in the process.
This is 72 new applicants, so I am
your-
going to rely on your expertise.
I would just prefer that they live in the area. I think you want that experience of not just having a business, but residing in the area. And that's my preference. There's plenty of business owners, I think, that you could find.
Well, I would suggest, I guess, for the Lakeport area, I think that's the one that probably is impacted the most. I don't know. We'll see if there's a problem, but I would suggest most businesses are probably going to be within the area of the city, and that's already canceled out. But that doesn't mean that it cancels out all businesses, obviously, since there's businesses outside of the area. But I would agree, wherever you're going to be impacted is what I would like to see as the decision maker of assisting and advising on how that area plan should look. That way you know that it's a personal impact, not a business and financial impact only. These are long-term ramifications. So I would agree with you.
So I'll add. So on the UL Nice potential for that, can we move one of the at-larges to Worth and then put one UL, one Nice, because there's two different representatives for the area, if that makes sense?
Oh, yeah, so Worth would get two, one would be an Upper Lake and one would be a Nice.
Yeah, kind of like how you have Surth and Earth, the same type of thing, because Upper Lake and Nice are somewhat different, so that would help with there. And I assumed when you had ag at the end of the table, I assumed that they all were, and I was fine with that in my.
It was actually just Kelseyville.
Okay.
I didn't think about Lakeport, sorry about that. That's a good point.
But I'm fine with UL, because there's spots in Upper Lake and Nice, and then even in the shoreline where that can be filled with someone that's in ag as well.
Okay, so add an ag and take at-large down to 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I like it the way it's proposed at this point. And yeah, we're going to have to weed through all these applications, but I think it answers more questions for our community members at our advisory councils, as we did the GPAC. But this also gives us that opportunity to really get down and my two, Lower Lake Action Committee Group and the Middletown Area Town Hall, just adding those extra folks and extra eyes on those things that need to be done. All the things that need to be updated on the area plan. Mm-hmm. Electronic signage, all the little things that have changed over the past 20 years.
Absolutely. Do you feel you have clear direction?
If I may just read it back.
Yeah, of course.
Upper Lake Nice is changing to have 2 members from Worth, one from Upper Lake, one from Nice, with the addition of an agricultural representative and 3 at-large. Lakeport is changing to add 1 agriculture representative down to 4 at-large, and the business owner must reside within the planning area, whether or not the business is located in that planning area.
And if I can just clarify that, I think everyone on the list would need to reside within the designated area plan, not just the business owners.
Right, okay.
That's mine, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just wanted to
Thank
make
you.
sure it wasn't just that one. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing this to us, and I think we're good.
You need a motion?
No, just direction to staff. We're going to create the committees at a later time because we're not.
I think we made GPAC by motion. If you wouldn't mind just making a motion to establish the 8 area.
Let me
local area
check
plan.
with Mr. Guentavano just to make sure. Based on the fact that it does have proposed composition, is a motion to approve the creation of each one of these LAPACs, as it's been aptly named. Would that be appropriate within the confines of this agenda item?
Yes, and just for clarification for Director Turner, were there any changes to be made on the the shoreline area?
In the shoreline area, as far as municipal area councils, we have one membership position for SERTH and one for Earth. So I think we're covered, and I did not receive any recommendations for amendments on that.
I think the only changes is the fact that the city limits are not available for membership within is the only comments that were made.
So if at your board's option, the motion would be to establish the 8 local area plan advisory committees as outlined in the staff memo and the board memo, and with the revisions incorporated coming out of this, coming out of the discussion of this item, and direction to staff to advertise for the LAPAC vacancies.
Perfect. Thank you.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second?
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go backwards now to item 7.4, consideration of changing seat designation from crop grower to organic farmer for committee member Bruce Merriles on the Lake County Ag Advisory Committee, and B, consideration of appointments to the Lake County Ag Advisory Committee. I know it says clerk of the board. What I do want to pass it on to our supervisor members from the Ag Advisory Committee in case they wanted to add anything else.
No, we were just trying to recruit for the seats, and the organic farmer is sometimes difficult to fill, so Bruce Merriles suggested that he be considered for that designation.
Okay. I do want to add that I was stopped by Sharon Zoller, who was not able to make it for this afternoon session, stating that the Ag Advisory choice would be Jennifer Smith from the list.
Yeah, I didn't think we were at that yet. I thought we were just talking about him. It's A.
Oh, I read both, so I wasn't sure.
Okay. Yes, Jennifer Smith, but we have 3 applicants. They're all 3 cannabis. It's been difficult to fill the seats, so I wouldn't mind appointing Carolyn Hillman for the processor seat as well.
Okay. Any other comments? Yeah, there's a seat open for ag processor and a seat open for crop grower, and then Part A is just merely changing the designation of that seat that already is.
We currently have 2 crop growers and 1, with 3 vacancies. 2 are crop growers and 1's a processor. So if we appoint Jennifer Smith and Carolyn Hillman, then we'll just have 1 vacancy.
4. What would the 1 vacancy be left for?
I think we leave it open because we're already appointing 2 people with cannabis, and I think it'll be a little heavy on the cannabis.
Okay. I would, of course, Quincy Jackson's in my district, so he would be my choice.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Well, I mean, we could just fill them all since this is who, we've been recruiting for the last couple of months. We could
that's where I'm at.
just do them all.
Yeah, and I think Jennifer would probably fall under processor in the breadth of our operations, so.
Any other comments? No. I want to say that she only has a cultivation license, but I could be incorrect, and maybe I haven't been keeping up on what's been approved and not approved. But also, I don't think that's what she's requesting to be added as a member.
Well, she left it blank on her application, but state cultivation licenses by their definition include the processing of the cultivated product. And
We have someone here with a processor,
who's that?
Carolyn Hillman.
Yeah.
One of the things, too, I'll add, just to back some of why I wanted to choose Quincy as well, is because I know that, it's been said he does cannabis, but I know he does cattle, and I think he does gardens as well. So I know he's not just all cannabis. So that's why I mentioned my support for him.
Okay, well, I'm fine with all three then.
Anything else? Open it up for the public. I see no hands up in the Zoom room and no one rushing to the microphone in the chamber. And bringing it back for action.
Want me to motion?
Okay, go ahead.
So we're doing A2, right? So A?
Yes.
Okay, so I motion to approve changing seat designation from crop grower to organic farmer for committee member Bruce Merrilees on the Lake County Ag Advisory Committee. Or do you want it at a time or both? We'll do, okay.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And then I motion to appoint Jennifer Smith as crop grower, right? Carolyn Hillman, ag processor, and Quincy Jackson, crop grower, for the 3 vacancies on the Ag Advisory Committee as well.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to item 7.5, consideration of appointments to the Big Valley Advisory Council in the Middletown Cemetery District. Let's maybe just start with the Middletown Cemetery District just to move that out of the way, and then we can have the larger discussion on BVAC. Any
Ready to move
comments?
forward.
All right, I'll open it up for the public. Any comments on this item? And let's bring it back.
Move to appoint Susie Knowles to the Middletown Cemetery District.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's open up the discussion on the number of applications that we received for BVAC, and I'll allow for Supervisor Pyskar, Supervisor Green to start us off.
Okay. Well, I'm delighted that we have so many applicants. And in light of the fact that we need area plan volunteers, I think that's great that we have a lot of enthusiasm here. There was a group that, with a steering committee, that did a significant amount of legwork, and so I want to select some of those members. And I didn't realize that Angel Acosta was in District 4. I thought he was in District 5 because he was on the steering committee, so I will recommend him. And then Brian Hansen, Meg Linkford, Joy Merrilees, with the alternate as Greg Pinella. And then District 4, Flaman McLeod Jr. And Supervisor Green and I conferred.
Yeah. So the applications are incorrect as far as the districts that they reside in?
Only as to Mr. Acosta. No, there were 2 errors I noted.
Yeah, there
but,
were 2 errors.
Yeah, there were a couple errors, but basically because the Lakeport Area Plan map is what Big Valley Advisory Council adopted as its sphere. That does span both District 4, District 5, so Supervisor Pysk and I did discuss this, and there's rough parity between the districts as far as the seats, and then as far as the interests and abilities and skill sets of the people there, and the tribal representation with the Big Valley Rancheria Chair, Tribal Chair also included on there, Mr. McLeod. I think this is a really good set of appointments, and as Supervisor Pysk said, it's an embarrassment of riches. Certainly no disrespect intended to those people we're not going to appoint today, but plenty of other opportunities for input on our local area plans and other community issues. So got to start somewhere, and I concur with Supervisor Pysk as far as the recommendations.
And I just want to say that whoever is appointed, we appoint the members, but it's equally important for the community to show up and participate. And so while we have all of these members who are interested in serving, I just encourage them all to show up and be participants, because it's really hard to have a town hall without the hall. So I feel really confident that they will, and you know, that participation is just so critical, especially when you have, you take a vote and everybody there votes. It's not just a vote from the board or the panel. So that participation is really important.
Okay. And I really apologize for asking this question. Can you repeat again who the anticipated appointments are?
Yeah, Flamin McLeod Jr., Joy Marilees, Meg Linkford, Brian Hansen, Angel Acosta, with the alternate of Greg Pinella.
Okay. Any further comments or questions from board members? Okay, let's open it up for public input. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, bringing it back to the board. Oh, please, come on up. I'm sorry.
Hi, Marilyn Holden Reed from Kelseyville. Would you mind saying those names again? Jessica, thank you.
Sure. Flamin McLeod Jr., Joy Marilees, Meg Linkford, Brian Hansen, Angel Acosta, and Greg Pinella as the alternate.
And as far as the division between 4 and 5, that's 1 from District 4?
2.
2, okay. I just don't-
It's 2 and 2 with the alternate being from 5.
Okay. We have another hand. Please come on up.
So I never saw a full map that shows the streets, and so we can really look at the area and just see who's included and who's not included. And then I don't really understand when it extends onto the Rancheria, but part of the Rancheria, so I'm not sure how all that works. So will they be voting members? Will some of them, depending on where they work and where the line is? I just hate to see the power of our Native community kind of broken up and stuck here in this planning committee and that planning committee. So I thought Sabrina was going to be here with a map today. She said next time she came, she'd bring a map with set over the GIS. I mean, it's important for people to know which area plan.
Yeah, and if you go to the county maps, you go to the county website and you go to the maps and GIS, and you can click a layer to see where the area plans are. And
But
so
I can't
all
get
of
a
these,
hard copy. I have to.
yeah, you do. Because you have to, if you want to drill in and see parcel by parcel, you're going to have to do that on the website through the.
Okay, so I
GIS.
start at the county and then I go to.
Yeah, and if you want to go up to community development, they might be able to walk you through that. But
I think if you look at the G-PAC, the one G-PLAC or whatever we just did, there's a map on there that shows, is it the same area?
she wants to be able to drill down parcel by parcel.
Sorry, okay.
Staff can show you how to do that upstairs, but everybody that we're appointing today does live within the area.
Okay. All right. And then how does that work where the people that live on the Rancheria, they're not included, but they can come and vote? I don't understand how all that works. So how is it going to serve, how's the Big Valley Rancheria going to be served by this? Is it going to serve everybody, part of the people? Can anybody from the Rancheria come and vote?
Anybody can come to these meetings and participate in these meetings. When there's a consensus vote, you're supposed to live within the planning area. Most, I think, of the reservation is in the planning area.
So the Rancheria needs to know who is and who isn't. It would be nice if you could maybe publicize a map. I mean, I can go upstairs and try and get it all sorted out.
Well, there is a representative who's being appointed who's on the tribal council.
Flamin, okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Laura Sue.
And I believe in the GIS, there's an planning area or area planning layer that once turned on, then you can easily zoom in, identify which streets. It's not a big blob. It's a very distinct line to show the difference between the Lakeport area plan and the Kelseyville area plan, which the Big Valley Advisory Council uses the Kelseyville area plan.
He's got it.
There it is.
You see that check, if you go and see where layers is on the right-hand side, and you check planning area, that'll give you that layer.
And then you can zoom in for the streets. Okay.
Clutch, Johanna.
If I can just add on behalf of the speaker and myself, although it is easy to do it, it's not easy. So I appreciate any request for printed materials because I'm always requesting them. So we're caught in that divide between old school print all the time and GIS layers if you're smart enough to go look at layers. So I'm glad that the younger folks can get there, but I appreciate that not all of us can. But I don't want to leave here without a map. So the previous agenda item, there is a print version of that map. I'll be sure to rip it out of the agenda for you. And then to their concern about tribal representation, yes, Mr. McLeod is the tribal chair of Big Valley Rancheria. I do believe the Rancheria, although physically located within District 4, the Rancheria has interests throughout the entire Big Valley Advisory Council area, including portions of District 4 and District 5. So I'm very confident, and I spoke with the chair yesterday, that his appointment to this will yield at least very robust discussion and participation in all the advisory council votes, and hopefully will also encourage other people who are non-voting members to attend these meetings, because as Supervisor Pyska said, firing up a committee is one thing, getting other members of the community to show up to meetings and provide input can be a challenge, as it continues to be in my other parts of my district. So I'm very confident with the representation we're moving ahead here with today, knowing that we're also going to have additional feedback from community members who do attend.
And if I'm correct, there are no more public comments on this item, so I'll bring it back for action.
I move that we appoint Flamin McLeod Jr., Joy Merrilees, Meg Langford, Brian Hansen, Angel Acosta, and then Greg Pennell as the alternate to the Big Valley Advisory Council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. This is our last untimed item, I believe. Consideration to adopt resolution to approve the CalPERS 180-day wait period exception for CalPERS.
Do you wish to also do the Middletown Cemetery?
We just did that first before we did the, nope. I appreciate reminders because I am going to miss something sooner than later. Okay, let's 7.7, consideration to adopt resolution to approve the CalPERS 180-day wait period exception for CalPERS retiree Richard F. Hinchcliffe in order to hire him as an extra help deputy district attorney senior. And we have our DA, Susan Cronus, with us.
Hello. Oh, I just pushed the wrong button. Okay. Hello. I am here to answer any questions. I just want to say that I hope that the board approves this because we really, really need them desperately to do charging. Our charging attorney is reducing hours, and so we're going to need Mr. Hinchcliffe right away. He can charge anything, misdemeanors, felonies, very serious cases, and we're getting a lot of charging, and we don't want to have a backlog, which we currently have.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments, questions from the board? Okay, let's open it up for public input. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back. And Mr. Hinchcliffe definitely left some large shoes to fill, so seeing him come back definitely leads us to believe that the help will be there to assist you in your needs.
Thank you.
Looking for action.
There's nothing further, Chair. I offer the resolution.
Resolution has been offered.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye. Thank you very much. And with that, that concludes all our open item sessions except for calendars. So let's go ahead and get started. Vice Chair?
Yeah, so I'll start off tomorrow, agenda review. I missed last week. Meeting with admin, Earth, and then the CSA in Spring Valley. So Earth's at Clear Lake Oaks at the Moose Lodge, and then that's at 4 p.m. CSA 2 out in Spring Valley at 7. Thursday, I have the EPA Farm, Ranch, and Rural Communities Committee, and then a AAA advisory committee, or not advisory, I'm sorry, governing board meeting. Friday, staff meeting about Potter Valley project. Monday, Central Region Town Hall, and then back here Tuesday for the board meeting.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Pyska?
Yep, it's spring break, so I have a short week, or I'm sorry, a light week this week. Thursday, I have an NCO governing board meeting. And there's that barbecue at Calpine. Are you?
Thursday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and go to that.
Okay. I haven't gotten in it.
It's in the evening, right? I got a call yesterday.
Did you? Okay, yeah. I have it on my calendar, but I don't remember any follow-up. Yeah.
I didn't get told there was food, so I just got told I had to talk.
Okay, I'll follow up with Daniel. And then Friday morning, zone of benefit meeting, and then my Monday meeting with CAO Parker, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Green?
I am planning nothing for the next entire week, and I do not plan to be here for next Tuesday's meeting. I hope you will soldier on in my absence, but I will be splitting time between my boat and other activities out of county. So thank you for carrying on in my absence. And
Make sure to clean and dry before bringing it back. Enjoy your time. Supervisor Simon.
Finishing up the board meeting today, whenever that gets completed, and then tonight, I think there's a special meeting by the Middletown Area Town Hall. They're going to get a response or something for the Gwinnett Valley project, so I might stop by and see that for a little bit. Other than that, don't have anything. LTA's next week, huh? I was thinking it was this week. I got it for the 10th.
I definitely have it on the 10th as well.
Okay, all right. And then,
And Jesus has not emailed us to remind us 3 times.
yeah, that's what I figured, so we're all right. Thursday, I think I will be going to an event at Calpine in the evening, talk about geothermal, some other stuff, so don't know what that event is called at this point. I just know I've been asked to attend. On Friday, have the CAO, check in with CAO in the morning. Last week, I did meet with Ben Rickleman and also Sutter, or I think it was last Monday, the 25th, about a piece of property right in the middle of town there, so hopefully we can start up some conversations. It seemed like it went well, and we'll have hopefully an update here sooner than later. But it was a good meeting. On Saturday, have some other business, and then Sunday I do have a commitment for a project that the Middletown Arts Center is doing for the Water Basket Project with Calliomi, Middletown, and the area, and the tribe. So I'm going to be meeting on a committee meeting on Sunday, and Monday, don't have nothing back here on Tuesday. What is that date? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow, I have a NACO Health Committee meeting, and also with my CSAC Committee, Administration of Justice, preparing basically for is it the following week? Or the week after? The legislative conference is the week after, the 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically preparing that committee for our meeting that we'll have during the Ledge Conference. And as far as agenda review, I know we kind of discussed changing the process since there's so many, I'll just be blunt, latecomers that appear on the agenda that it feels like it's not much of a review. So we're looking at Thursday via email and just to kind of do it that way at this moment in time until we either figure out that that works or provide a different process. So look for that email. Start Thursday with Judge's Breakfast, meeting with Senator McGuire's office later on that morning, continuing with Lake County Continuum of Care in the evening, and then that Thursday evening I'll be at Clear Lake City Council meeting, keeping track of what's going on there. And then on Friday, as already discussed by Vice Chair, we'll be having a Lake Pillsbury staff meeting and seeing where we are and what we're doing. Looks like my only thing on Monday is to meet up with our CAO, discuss our agenda and any other things we're working on, and be prepared for our meeting back here on the 9th. And that will be all for our open session. Did I miss anything? All right, so we will be going to closed session. And in our closed session, we have multiple items. 8.1, Public Employee Evaluation, Air Pollution Control Officer. 8.2, Public Employee Evaluation, Community Development Director. 8.3, Public Employee Evaluation, Public Works, Water Resources Director. And 8.4, Conference with Legal Counsel, Significant Exposure to Litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2E1, one potential case. And with that, we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you for joining.